This video is entitled Why Victimhood is So Poisonous. Growing up, like I have, being physically disabled and confined to a wheelchair, you get two types of victimhood. You get, as you're growing up, going, you poor little boy in a wheelchair, here, have this, have that for free, have this, I'm so sorry for what's happening to you. And you get people smothering you, and all well-meaning, but in ways that they don't understand. It's insulting and insufferable. And then you get the other type of poisonous victim speak, which is, don't be too worried about your dreams because you're in a wheelchair, you won't amount to much. Just as long as you got some food and a roof over your head, you'll be okay. Now, both of them are as poisonous as each other, and both of them are bad. And both of them have severely affected me over the years, and I'm improved a lot, but I've still got dregs of those scars which live with me. Sorry to bore you, but I have to go into a little bit about my story to fully explain this. I grew up in a hick town called Leongatha in Victoria in Australia. Actually, it was Carinborough before that, but most of my school years in Leongatha. And I was probably the only disabled person in the town. Now, back then in the early 90s, it didn't matter whether your brain was okay. They thought that, well, if you're in a wheelchair, you had to be fucked in the head as well. And basically, even though I was one of the smartest kids in the class, I was pulled out and put in remedial classes, and my development was stunted. A lot of hatred would grow inside me because I knew how smart I was. It would come out in a variety of ways. I would, of course, do things like you do when you're that age. I mean, I'd be smoking, but I had this really powerful wheelchair, and I tore up the oval so bad with donuts that I had to reseed the entire oval because I completely wrecked it. And what these people failed to understand, it's because that I was intellectually frustrated and I just wanted to be given a chance. And that's what the school system back then did not understand. As a result, I got into a lot of trouble. Now, what happened when I was about 13 and 14, I was acting out, and they sent me to a psychologist in Melbourne saying, he's obviously got all these problems and that. And I explained to the psychologist what was going on, and the psychologist in Melbourne luckily was an older woman, not a 23-year-old kid straight out of school. It wrote a report actually saying it's not him with the problem, it's the school. So what happened? We got run out of town. So then we moved to Pakenham. I ended up at Pakenham High School, year 8 through to year 12. And I was treated like a normal human being, and I'd never experienced that before. And it was an unbelievable experience because I never had that. And I guess what I'm getting at is, the left don't understand, is victimhood is the worst thing ever because it puts the person down, it makes them feel that they're not worthy, and it stunts their growth, and it makes them feel less of a human, which I guess is what the globalists are after, as we all know. I'm going to give you an example. My friend Amazing Polly, subscribe to her, by the way. This is kiddie class in the globalism and New World Order. If you want to know what's really going on, particularly with extraordinary investigations like she's done on those Impossible burgers, those fake meat burgers, and what's behind them and really where they come from. Storyful, the company that floods the World Wide Web with fake news stories and spins them and suppresses real ones. She's brilliant. I met her, and then I was so impressed with what she was doing, and that I started talking to her, and I told her about my story and whether I should be doing videos, and she said, "Well, you sound smart enough to me, you should do them." It took me a few weeks, but I started doing them. She has been nothing but encouraging, and if I was no good, she'd tell me, because what I've found is, on the most part, conservative and nationalist and patriot people don't treat anyone any different. I've known Polly for quite a while now, and she hasn't mentioned the wheelchair to me once. She's not the one thinking about it, I am. I bet she hasn't seen me anyone else other than just normal guy, normal Aussie patriot from Australia, and that is such a refreshing thing, not to be treated as a victim. Ladies and gentlemen, lastly, if you feel sorry for someone or treat them as a victim, you may feel that you're being sympathetic or you're doing the right thing by them, but you're not. It only treats them like less of a human being, and all we want to be treated as equal as possible. I believe equality's a myth, because there's some things I can't do in a wheelchair that other people can do, but as equal as they can be possibly treated, like a human being, and just like everybody else. And trust me, ladies and gentlemen, you only have to get into a conversation with someone for 15 seconds to figure out where they are intellectually. Anyway, that's my spiel on why victimhood is so poisonous. It just puts everyone into separate classes. It treats them as less than what they are. It's segregatory, which is wrong. It's wrong in so many areas, so stop doing it. Thank you very much. That is all.